Okay, so I'm dead. I don't know how I died, but the chances are I probably started drinking again and that has something to do with it. So I guess I should tell you a little bit of what I know about drinking, because alcohol is going to be something you're going to have to be very, very fucking careful with, because there are alcoholics everywhere in our family. Everywhere. I'm one. Nana's an alcoholic. My mum, Gundutata. My dad, I would say he's a functional alcoholic, but he's borderline. My grandpa, mum's dad, he died of alcoholism, got liver cancer. My auntie, who was a doctor, she pretty much drank herself to death. My uncle, Nana's brother, drunk himself to death. My other auntie, the barrister in New Zealand, alcoholic. So that's virtually half of your immediate family are alcoholics. Not good alcoholics either, not the fun-loving types. Fucking brutal alcoholics. Half of them are dead, half of them are still drinking. That's just immediate family. Then if you look a little bit further down the family tree, all of Granddad's brothers, all alcoholics. His dad, my great-granddad, vicious alcoholic. All the Boyles are alcoholics. So it's everywhere, so you've got to be careful. You're going to have to watch out for it. You're going to have to pay some close attention to it. I'm not going to say don't drink, because you're going to drink and you're going to love it, because drinking is one of the greatest things in the entire world. I'm not going to tell you not to drink. I'm not even going to tell you to be a responsible drinker, because I don't really think drinking and responsibility go hand in hand. I think if you're drinking, responsibility is really out the window. The only thing I can really talk about, the only thing I can really tell you about is my experience and where I think everything went wrong for me, and why I eventually had to quit forever before it killed me, because that's what it will eventually do, is kill you. So I can only tell you a little bit about my experience with it. And if you can use that as some sort of guiding light, then I suppose this is worth it. So I started drinking real early. I think I started 12. And I knew from the very first drink I ever had, I remember the first time I ever got drunk, that this is going to be the love of my life. Alcohol completed me. That's what it felt like. It felt like finally I had found something that completed me. And once I found it, I didn't really stop. I never really stopped after that. I just drank and I drank and I drank and I drank and I loved it and I took pride in it. And I wanted to be the best at it, and I was the best at it. I could drink more, I could drink faster, I could get more fucked up than anyone and still remain somewhat conscious. It was the only thing I really cared about. Obviously my childhood wasn't the best, so I really liked getting to that point where you black out drunk. That was my hobby. That was my goal. I liked the escapism of the abyss. I liked that black out drunk where you're not even there anymore, or your thoughts are just slowed down to a trickle. I suppose I was using it medicinally even then when I was young, and I didn't really know about it. I was using it to numb myself, to kill the pain. But I got real good at drinking. And when you're young, you can build a reputation around only drinking. It's a flimsy, foundationless bullshit fucking reputation to have. But you can build it around being a big drinker. You've got to be fun too. You've got to be fun to be around. If you're a big drinker and not fun, no one gives a fuck. You also got to be fun. That's the caveat. The problem is when you build your reputation around drinking, everything has to revolve around drinking. All your social interactions, every event you go to, it's all booze. And you start forgetting about other things in life. This is young. I'm talking about 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Real young when you're doing your real drinking. When you're really throwing it down. You start forgetting about everything else in life. Because you are getting some sort of status through drinking. So why would you need to develop any other part of your life when you already have an identity? It's booze. And this reputation can kind of serve you pretty well through your late teens into your early 20s. Like real early 20s. Like 21, 22. But around the age of about 23, a shift sort of takes place. You don't really notice it because you're fucking hammered all the time. You think the party is going to last forever. You haven't stopped drinking long enough since you were like 15 to even look around and see what everyone else is doing. So from around about 23 onwards, everything that used to make you cool, everything you built your reputation on, downing full bottles of scotch in one hit, fucking beer bongs, slamming long necks, everything you sort of built your whole personality and your reputation on starts to look more and more, how do you say it, pathetic. You sort of sense something's going on. You sort of sense the people around you are sort of refocusing their goals. Mates start getting girlfriends. They start moving interstate. They get jobs. People go overseas. All sorts of stuff happens. It's not all just about drinking now, which it had been for a good few years for everyone. But you just sort of distract yourself with a bit more partying, and everything's still fun. It's not like shit's falling apart. It's not like you're having a bad time either. It's still fun all the way. 24's fun, 25's fun, 26. But during these years, people start dropping off. Your close friends that you were blood brothers, you no longer see them. They've moved on a little bit, but you don't care. You've still got other friends. You can drink with them. That's cool. Then they drop off. And you're like, that doesn't matter. I've still got fucking other friends. Let's keep this party going. Let's keep it going, baby. At some point, you really do realize that you're going to run out of people soon. Your drinking is out of control, but you don't know what else to do. The only thing you can think of is to drink harder, because that's the only thing that's ever worked for you. That's the only thing that you've ever tried, is drink more. And then one day you'll realize that there is no one else left, and you're the last one at the fucking party. And the party isn't actually a party, you're just drunk. There's no party left. The party died a good few years ago, but you just kept on getting drunker and tried to convince yourself that you were the party, that the party revolves around you, so wherever you are, that's where the party is. But that's not how it works. All you are now is alone, with absolutely no skills that you can offer to the world at large. And the entire foundations of your personality, which you built upon drinking, have turned to sand, and everything else has crumbled. The rug has been pulled out from under you, and you are exposed. And that point right there, something will kick it off. It will be some major event, because also during this whole cycle of drinking, your behavior has to become more and more extreme to excite you. Because really, after 3 or 4 years of heavy drinking, there's not much you need to do. You've done a lot of it. If you took 4 years out of your life, 18 to 22, went as hard as you fucking could, did everything, you've seen it all. You've seen enough by 22. You really don't need much after that. But that point you come to, and it's got to happen to everyone. It happens to everyone. You come to a point where you realize everything you've based your whole entire life on is a lie and bullshit. You had been lying to yourself the whole fucking time. And it hurts like fuck. You realize you haven't matured or grown up at all since you first started drinking. You've handed everything over to booze. Now you realize you can't even look people in the eye unless you're fucking drunk. And so that point there, that's where a decision needs to be made. Hopefully you never need to get to this point. Drink hard, 18 to 22, and then just live your life like a normal person. Find some fucking things to do. Don't be the last guy at the bar. You can go one of two ways. You can admit that you're a fraud, that you're a fuck up, that you've been doing the wrong thing for more years than you can possibly remember. Or you can double down and try and drink your way through to the end. But that way is certain death. That way is suicide. So I suppose now when I think about it, the main piece of advice is don't let drinking and alcohol become the foundations of your personality, of your character, of your reputation. because that just turns to sand in the end. It's based on nothing. It's fraud, and the only way to maintain that fraud is to continue to lie to yourself. Then one day you'll wake up out of the haze and you'll be nude, you'll be naked, alone, vulnerable, and you'll have to rebuild yourself from there. So try not to let it get that far. Try not to delude yourself for as long as I did. But certainly have your fun. And there's nothing more fun than boozing it up. But it is a dead end, and eventually it's a suicide. I don't mean you'll commit suicide. I mean if you just drink long enough, it's a slow, painful, lonely suicide. Okay, that's it. So just be careful. Have your fun, but just don't make that the foundation of your personality. Okay, that's all. I'm your dad. I'll always be your dad. I love you, and I'll see you on the other side.